We'll move on to our second item on the agenda. Discuss a resolution urging the Wilmington Parking Authority to rename the authority after William Dutch Burton or take other appropriate actions. Sorry, guys. Thank you for coming. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming. And Councilman Guy, you're going to present to this?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Do we have access to those 3 photographs?
Yes.
Yeah, they loaded 3 photographs. While they're pulling up those 3 photographs, let me just give a brief description of what they are. One of them is a photograph of William Dutch Burton. William Dutch Burton is a former member of Wilmington City Council. One of the items, there he is right there. It's pretty interesting. There's not really a whole lot about him that you can find on the internet. It's almost like he's forgotten, given all his contributions to this community. The next picture is a picture of a menu to a place called the Eagle Restaurant, which, if everybody remembers the 9th Street bookstore, the Eagle Restaurant used to be where the 9th Street bookstore used to be. And then the third picture is a picture of the Midtown garage, the way it used to look. It's down now, tore down now. And there's a story that connects these 3 things, and it's a civil rights story, because this is basically Martin Luther King week, and I have a series of 3 civil rights focused resolutions for tomorrow night. In this particular instance, I'd like all the members of council to consider, if we all were here at lunchtime and we went to the cafeteria in the city-county building, and we all went in there to get our lunch, and those of us that were African-American were told we couldn't eat at that restaurant, we would all be shocked. Well, in the 60s, City Councilman Dutch Burton was part of the people on City Council who, in a sense, provided some of the funding for there to be a Wilmington parking facility being built right there. So that was a City of Wilmington through its Parking Authority project. And some folks from Chrysler went to the Eagle Restaurant to eat and weren't allowed to eat. So then Councilman Burton was sent over there working with Attorney Lewis Redding, and he parked his car in that parking garage, and then he walked into that Eagle Restaurant, and they refused to serve him in a publicly funded facility. So they went to court here in Delaware, and the Delaware court system ruled that that violates the Equal Protection Clause. But the Delaware Supreme Court overruled the local court and said if they don't want to serve African Americans, they don't have to. So Dutch Burton and Lou Redding went to the U.S. Supreme Court, and the U.S. Supreme Court issued a groundbreaking decision at that time and basically said that if you have a governmental project and you have a private business that's intertwined with, that business cannot discriminate because it's the same thing as the government discriminating. And that case ended up having nationwide implications. So all throughout this land, because of a city councilman who had enough nerve, because see, back in those days, African-American city councilmen, they didn't get to run committees. They didn't get a whole lot of legislation passed because they were kind of pushed to the side and disrespected. So what he did is he used the tools available to him as an advocate in this community, and he stood up, and as a city council person, because you don't find many city council people or elected officials anywhere in this country that'll stand up and be the plaintiff for the civil rights of people throughout this country. And he did that. Plus, he served as a council person representing the people of Wilmington. And so the purpose of this resolution is to encourage the Wilmington Parking Authority to consider possibly renaming themselves the William Dutch Burton Wilmington Parking Authority, or for them to find some way to properly show respect for all that was done through him, through the Wilmington Parking Authority, to do something, to look into to doing something. And you can read the resolution itself, but that's the gist of it. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Anyone from council have any questions?